Hello, fellow vintage Star Wars toy collector fans. I have here one of my favorite vintage Star Wars toy collectibles, the original Jawa remote controlled or radio controlled Sandcrawler from I don't remember the year exactly. I might put that on the screen later. I bought this at a vintage toy store up north. It does come with a remote and all of its parts. As is the case with most of these, the door on mine is broken, but it still displays well. And this is also a feature of most of these, and I have already undone the screws to show you this. The electronics were heavily corroded. Batteries were probably left in for a long time. This area was all corroded. The electronics were heavily corroded. I did attempt to repair these. I was able to get the motor to turn on and run in only one direction. The remote itself did not affect the function of this device. I was only able to turn it on and have it just basically run backwards. So I will show you that the motor itself does run. I bypassed or added to the wiring that leads from the electronics over here, the battery compartments over here, and I just put a negative line and a positive line here, just so I could test the motor independently of all the rest of this stuff. So let me show you that the motor does work. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully it won't block the thing here, but you'll see it is running. Now if I turn this around, it was running in one direction. You can't see that, of course, but it is going in the opposite direction, so I can make it go forward or backwards depending on whether I'm changing this to positive or negative. So what I'm going to attempt to do is wire this Sandcrawler up using the electronics from this simple little RC car that I picked up at a local retailer for a very, very low price during the Christmas sale season. I'm not sure if this will work or not. This little vehicle has basic controls. It only goes forward and backwards, and of course it has wheels that turn and lights that come on, which obviously don't or won't have any effect on this vehicle, because this vehicle was designed only to go front and back, and the way the wheel would pivot, sorry I just bumped the camera, this wheel then would turn when it went one direction or another, and you basically would have the thing go backwards or forwards in one direction and then turn. Very, very simple, very primitive, but hey, it worked once long ago. So I'm going to disassemble this vehicle, take out its electronics, lay them in here, wire them into this. Using this remote, we'll see if we can get this thing to run once again. Okay, so put batteries in the car and in the remote here, just testing it, and well, like I said, it's got the wheels too, but that's not what I'm concerned about. So this does work. Okay, that's the first step. Now the attempt to take this thing apart and see what we got inside. I took the top off of the car. It does have wiring that goes to the rear lights up here and to the headlights up here. Sorry for my fingers getting in the way. So the wiring that's important, of course, is the wiring going to the motor here. Now this motor is the drive motor, and this motor controls the wheels turning left or right. So this is what I'm concerned about, is preserving this set of wires to these contacts on this circuit board, because without that, this obviously won't work. So let me see if I can take this apart gently, and then from that point we'll see about wiring it into here. Okay, before I tore all this apart, I thought I would just connect the wires to the motor directly. So I've got this one taped on here, the negative, and here's the positive. I just don't have enough fingers to do all this, so I'm going to touch this one there, and I'm going to hit the power. Ooh, look at that. Going forward and backwards, forward and backwards. So it does work. A little yippee. Okay. Now, to gently try to take this apart and then hook it in a way better than using painter's tape. Okay, so I've removed everything that's not necessary. I've basically cut away the front end of the car. The power switch is right there, so that has to stay. The circuit board, of course. I'm leaving this motor intact temporarily because that shows me that I'm getting power and it's functioning properly. Next, I will attempt to set it into the device over here, although it may be sitting inside. I haven't decided yet. Probably have to sit inside and the wires will come through where the battery compartment is over here. And maybe I'll set the engine or the new electronics back over here. We'll see. So here is the temporary assembly with just the electronics. I finally did pull the motor off, and the battery compartment's back there and the on-off switch. This is just a part of an old alarm toy that I took the lid off, and then temporarily I'm just taping it on here because I don't want to have anything happen to the wiring or the circuit board that's in here. Here are the positive and negative wires. So what I'm going to do, again, just temporarily, is probably just tape them to these contacts. And then I will set this thing inside here. And as you can see, there's plenty of room for it. And the wires I've got coming through the battery compartment here with the door. So I'll just slide the door closed, mostly, with those wires hanging out. Not pretty, but once I close the door of this, you won't even see that. So I'll tape those things up and then we'll do a test drive. Okay, so I've got it wired in there. Again, it's very crude. I'm probably going to have to rewire it completely because the little itty bitty wires from this toy are just so small and they're difficult to connect to the bigger contacts. So I'll figure that out later, but let's at least give this a try. I've already tested the wheels and they turn, so let's watch this. Here's the current remote from this toy car, and let's see what happens. Ready? Hey, I'd say that's a success. Well, I think I'm going to end this video now, but if I come up with a better way to do this, I will make another video. But this is one way to make one of these toys actually function if you choose to do so. I probably won't be using this toy in this form all the time because it'll be in a display cabinet, but I just felt like it'd be fun to see it drive the way it was intended to. Thank you for watching.